Yo, welcome to another episode of the Raw Uncut podcast. I'm your host, Brels. Before we get started with my guest, make sure you guys go follow me on all the socials, on my channels, my YouTube channel and Twitch channel, which is 2920 TV, and my X channel, which is Mr. underscore 2920. Make sure you guys go like, subscribe, follow for more content, future content, including this one. Welcome my guest in today. He's a DJ, New York Fade, aka DJ Fade. How you doing, man?
What's good? What's good? It's backwards though. It's DJ Fade, aka NY Fade, because NY Fade is the new title. I mean the new artist name and all that. So
Okay. My bad. We'll
no,
fix
we good. We good.
with that. But welcome
Yeah.
though. Thanks for being my guest, man. Appreciate it.
Nah, I appreciate you having me. Word, definitely.
Nah, thank you. So let's get started. Question: How did you get into DJing in the first place?
I mean, music was always I was always into music. I mean, my family was into music. I used to go to sleep while they used to rock out on the weekends and all that. I have a Spanish background, so my people used to be, playing the little instruments and all that. When comes down to it, my brother bought a set of turntables from somebody, and he used to keep them in the crib. And when he used to leave, I used to play around with them, and it was just a talent. It was a skill. Like I didn't even have to try. Like when you see like the videos of Jam Master J's and all that, in the music videos, we try to played along and did it, and it actually worked. So and then I took it from there.
So how long have you been doing it for?
Oh, I mean, I did it for like maybe 3, 4 months. I mean, 3, 4 months. I mean, I did it for like 3, 4 years, and then I had a minor setback, got locked up, came home, and then got back right into it. So, right, like 15, 20 years, something like that.
Oh, damn, 15, 20 years. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you really been out here then. You really been moving.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't even. Ooh, I mean, I probably saying too much, but I mean, I probably don't got the numbers right, but it feel that way, with everything I accomplished. So.
Okay, cool. So, who were some of your inspirations when you started DJing? I mean, obviously, you say your family, your brother, going back and forth with that. But like, as you really got into it, like, who did you look up to that made you be like, okay, I want to take this serious?
Like I said, Jam Master Jay, you had DJ Premier, you had Kid Capri,
Mm-hmm.
back then Ron G, the mixtapes and all that. You had damn Jazzy Jeff, DJ Scratch, Rock Raider, may he rest in peace. So it's like the way I used to DJ is like everything that everybody I just mentioned, that's exactly a skill that I have. So Kid Capri rocks parties, that's what I do. Ron G does blends, I do that. DJ Premier does scratches on his songs. That's what I do too. And then that's where I transitioned into making beats. Or also Pete Rock. So like mainly the legends like but in the '90s era type thing, '80s, late '80s, early '90s.
Oh, okay, cool. So let me ask you a question. As a DJ, is it easier now with today's technology in DJing as opposed to old school, or do you still prefer to keep it like old school? Because I know growing up for me, DJing was just turntables. Now, I see everybody have like laptops and stuff of that nature. Like, is it, I mean, obviously, is it easier or is it just more convenient?
I mean, it's way easier. I mean, to me, I feel like I'm cheating. You know what I'm saying? You
Hmm.
press a button and it takes you right there. When I was battling, you had to put stickers on the records, and then no, you had to spin it twice to get to the actual spot. So I think people don't know what it is. I mean, listen, I'm not a hater. Like, listen, it's
Hmm.
easier to put a sample in a software and it tells you the BPMs and all that. Like, I ain't hating it. It's just I don't understand it for me. Like, for me, I still use turntables. I still move the needles around. Like, it's easier for me to do that than to press buttons. Like, because for me, like I was doing a run in the spot where I was practicing, and I literally was just played the song, and then the next one it was already on cue, and I just had to stand there and let it play out, and then echoed it out and played the next song. So it's like being a jukebox or a robot. It ain't really being a DJ, like because everybody has the same playlist. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
So as a DJ, what makes that's a good question because now I could blend into that one. As a DJ, what makes your playlist stand out from others?
The fact that I still use turntables, the fact that you're able to still see me, the fact that I could ask you like, I'm taking requests and then I could go on the fly. Like it's not like I'll have like a set playlist in my head, a radio station playlist or something I already played yesterday, or because the crowd is a certain way, I know how to rock it. But as opposed to like, yo, give me a request, like almost like a challenge. And then, I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing dancehall, and then it reminds me of all the other songs I have. Because sometimes your brain gets locked in. It's like when I go to the gym, it's like I play the same songs. And then you have shit on shuffle, and you're like, oh, I forgot about this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how, that's what you want to do when you do parties too. You know what I mean?
So okay, so to piggyback off that question too, because I've had DJs on here in the past, and they've told me that like when they're doing their sets or like when they're doing a party or whatever, they don't really like when people come up to them and ask them to do like certain songs. Like, so I guess that doesn't bother you. You don't mind that.
Nah, because I think, to each his own. I know DJs who do that too because they get in their zone.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, I guess they do that because, again, they have their own playlist. Like they can't really go off the crowd. They just go off of, because, like you play one song, you mess up, you're gonna play the next song. It's like hit or miss. You can't really miss all night. Like it's impossible to do that. There's too many songs, that speak for themselves. And it doesn't matter. Like, but like some people, they don't get into, they just go there for the money too. Sometimes people don't have that love for the crowd. I love the crowd. Like I love, to entertain and do things like where somebody could ask for a song they haven't heard in a while. They might have it on their Spotify, you know what I'm saying? But they want
Mm-hmm.
to hear it at the party, or somebody celebrating a birthday, they want to listen to something. It's like, who am I to just play what I want to hear? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it kind of means, right? Like I'm the DJ, I can play whatever I want. I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
paid for it. So the fact that I'm already getting paid for it, like I want y'all to what you want to hear. Like I want to make people, high five me when I leave, as opposed to I'm leaving and it's like I don't even exist. It's like, all right, he's out. Next
Yeah.
DJ's up. Because now they will have like 4 or 5 DJs in one spot. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
or
How does that process go too? Like if you're DJing at a spot and there's like 4 to 5 DJs, like is there a certain set of time they give you? And okay, so I remember when I was younger, I used to see spots like that, right? So I would see
Mhm.
like DJs set up, but it's like they set their own stuff up. Then it's like when their set is over, they have to break their stuff down and the next DJ. But then there's like a little lull in time for a second because you have to break yours down while the next one breaks.
Mhm.
Is that process still the same?
I mean, now you could put, now the way the setup is like they'll have two USBs, is it something like that? Like you able to connect your computer and then the other person connects their computer. I mean, while their computer's connected, you come in with your computer and you could just make the transition real easy, using the same DJ controller. But I mean, it's just at this point, most of them DJs that when it's 5 of them, they probably just still trying to get promotion and not trying to throw them under the bus and say anything. But most of them dudes don't get paid. It's just all exposure at the end of the day. And it's just their name on the flyer, because at the end of the day, when you have a real dope DJ, you're only gonna have an opener, him, and then a closer, and then that's it. Oh, the opener is gonna close because usually the prime time is like maybe from 12 to 3
Mm-hmm.
or 1 to 3, maybe 2 hours, and then you out, and then the other person just comes in, close out, and that's what it is.
Okay. So take me back as a DJ because you mentioned earlier about battling. What is
Mm-hmm.
the what is battling like DJs almost the same? Is it battling like rappers battle in the cipher?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if it's a versus, right? Like, because you'll
Mm-hmm.
have the setup where there'll be turntables on one side, turntables on the other side, and then you go against each other rounds, maybe 3 rounds, best out of two, whoever wins the two, then you advance. Then you might have it where it's like maybe 25 DJs, and then best of three, first place, second place, and third place, and then you advance to another state. DMC was usually, I think he went to London, some England or something like that. And then person who's from the US, person who's from Japan, and then that was back in the days. Like now, I don't think now I think everything is like now, like in the computer, and then you submit everything, so it's not hands-on and physical no more. But yeah, it's different ways of battling.
How intense are these DJ battles?
I don't know, because I mean, it's a lot of politics.
Oh,
You
really?
kind of know, you could kind of know who's winning. I mean, I always went there. I had no affiliation. Still to this day, I have no affiliation with anybody. That's why I went from DJ Fade to NY Fade because there's a couple of other DJ Fades, and I don't want to get it mixed up. So I'm like, people know. Like I heard somebody one time, and like now I'm talking about Bronx Fade, New York Fade, and they're like, oh, that makes sense as a title, like because now that I'm making beats and I'm working on the album and stuff like that, automatically singles out who you're talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
but Yeah, there's a lot of politics. There's joints where I should have been in third place. It's like I won a couple Hot 97 ones, a couple Guitar Center ones when there was no politics involved. When then there was politics involved, I didn't even come in third place. Like I used to be the person who used to take off my shirt, use a sneaker, spin around, and rest in peace of Rock Raider. That's where I got most of that stuff from. A lot of people get technical and then they scratching and transforming and all that. It sounds like noise. So for me, I always wanted to be like, if a person can't hear, I want them to see what I'm doing and be like, damn, what is he doing? I wish, like can't hear it, but I see, you know what I'm saying? And then for some people who just tag along, like if you don't know about DJ battles, and you tag along with your cousin or somebody, you want to be like, yo, that dude was crazy. I never saw that before. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to like, damn, that's mad noise. You know what I'm saying? So I just always used to like making an impact, on what I used to do. And that was basically I always did it for the love, never for the money. That's why I walked away from it like with my head up, being a winner, you know what I'm saying? But I knew I
Mhm.
wasn't gonna get nowhere unless I got down with a DJ team, and I wasn't really trying to do that.
Oh, okay. So as DJing, making mixtapes, what goes into the thought process? Where do you start to be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do? And then as you're doing it, like, is there like a certain time that you give yourself? Like, say for example, like I want to do 10 tracks, that'll be like maybe an hour and a half or whatever. I don't want to go too long or I don't want to go too short.
The basic amount is 20, 25. You definitely want to. I always used to push. If it's 90 minutes, I wanted to push 89 minutes. Like literally, I
Hmm.
always used to try to give everybody what I could give them. And then, you know, just like I said, I did 7 years, so I was already like I call it suspended in time. So when I came home, you know, I continued where I left off. So I was doing like the best of Bad Boy, best of Wu Tang, Death Row, things like that. So when I left the battle scene and then I got into the mixtape scene, that's when it was the hottest DJs. Like when it came down to like the K Slade, may he rest in peace,
Hmm.
Clue, Green Lantern, Big Mike, DJ Whiteout, may he rest in peace as well. So when I came in, I couldn't keep up with the exclusives. So I had to figure out a way to get in. So that was what I used to do. So the fact I remember giving a distributor 200 CDs and he gave me back I think like 180, but
Mm.
I know he wasn't pushing it. So I was like, I'm gonna do this myself. So when I used to just start dropping every week, I dropped every week for 2.5 years straight. So like literally every weekend. So yeah, so I found the spots and I used to go there. They used to deny me, and then I go there next week with two, and then I go there next week with three, deny me, and then they'll be like, just leave them here. And and then I left them there, and then the next week I had the fourth one, and the next one I had the fifth one.
Hmm.
And I think I was like 10 months in and I was on Rap City off the mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? My first appearance on Rap City. And then also nominated Rookie of the Year that same year. You know what I'm saying? So the hard work always gonna pay off. So a lot of times you could listen to other people mixtapes, but it could kind of influence you to be lazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to
Hmm.
listen to people, you have DJs who have other DJ drops on their mixtape. And they was hot. They had a hot name. I'm like, I couldn't do that. So I always stuck to my craft and of what I did and how I wanted to do it, and unfortunately, it always kept me like it didn't. It kept me like kind of like always underground, and it never kept me like where I could have made it where I was popular, but it always kept me because I was never searching for that anyway to begin with.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
basically, for you, it was just consistency and persistence.
correct,
Because
correct.
going back and forth, like you said, they were rejecting you here and there, but then you kept
Hmm.
going back, you kept going back, and eventually somebody listened to something and they ended up liking it, and look where they got you to Rap City. So now
Correct.
my question is, how were you able to keep your passion for wanting to do this and not get discouraged? Like coming out and being like and seeing like almost like time kind of pass by a little bit, and then like
Hmm.
almost having to catch up and then get back into it. So how were you able to stay focused and like see a finish line?
I mean, because when you notice that you're not only doing it for yourself, you keep doing it. Because I walked away from it so many times. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna get a regular job. This is a headache. You go to promoters, it look like you got to like choke them out to get your money, and
Hmm.
nobody want to pay you. Like me, I never dealt with that when it came to money. I never even really. I used to look out more than I used to even chase money. Like that was not never my thing. So so I think when you walk away and then you see the talent that you have and the skill that you have, then I believe in my higher power. Sometimes he just limits me. Like he just locks something where you're like, I'm gonna give you this, but you're not gonna. you're not gonna advance after that. You're gonna
Hmm.
dislike it, and then you're gonna have to go back to what you know best. And that's where I got into, working on the album because me, I was like, yo, I could have a MTA job, make like 100K or 70, 80,000. I'm good. Like I grew up poor. I know how to stretch money. I don't need nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
but nah, I can't get that. I get the jobs where I make enough to keep my head above water, and then after that, it's like, nah, you got to go back into this now because this is where the hustle is at. You know what I'm saying? This is where the
Hmm.
grind is at. It's where the skill. So then I come back and it won't stir me wrong. I'm like, all right, this is what I need to do. So passion is always there. It's just like you can't give up. You know what I mean? But sometimes you need to take a break. You know what I mean? And get back to it.
I think the biggest message in what you're saying so far is that being a DJ and continuing to be a DJ kept you on your toes. It kept you focused and motivated. Because, like you said, it's easy to get a MTA job and make what you say you make and then be comfortable. And
Correct.
but even after a while, being comfortable, you get complacent. Once you get complacent, you get bored. Next thing you
Correct.
know, the job ain't exciting anymore. So at
Correct.
least with this, you're like out here pushing. You know you gotta go, you gotta hustle, you gotta keep going because you
Hmm.
know it's not gonna be handed to you.
Correct.
So I think the biggest message in all of this is to just stay focused, stay consistent, stay persistent, because at the end of the day, look where it's got you because you kept going at it.
Correct. Correct. Now that's that what you're saying is the truth. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has a skill. It's just if you bring it to life or not. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, you get tired of everything. Sometimes you can ask yourself like, damn, why this producer ain't making beats no more? And it's just the industry. It just drains you out after a while. So for me, it's like I have a passion for it and I love doing it. But when you deal with the business side of it,
Hmm.
it just it's not even you're just like you don't want to deal with that because it's just like it drains you out where you got to be all technical with everything and then people are getting over and you come off on some sucker shit is like I told you earlier like I was supposed to hit you yesterday and I apologized. I said damn because people say shit and then they disappear and that's just this industry. We like yo so what up what's your IG and okay I'm gonna hit you tomorrow and never hear from them again. So it's just like a whole bunch of phony shit because everybody wants to get over. It's what you could do for them, not what you could do for each other. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, so when you hit me up, I'm like, all right, cool, because I told you yesterday, like, I'm free today. I want to try to knock it out.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we found a way. We made it happen. So and
correct,
that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, we both stuck to our words and made it happen. So it's cool.
correct, correct.
So fade to glory.
Oh, word.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did a little bit of research, a little something,
All
something, a little
right.
something, something, a little
All
something,
right.
something. So what was the process into making that?
Well, I mean, I had two people that were rappers, and we connected as family or whatever. And what happened was I had some beats that I was throwing away because I used to have so many beats. Even now, I got like 400 beats. And but not all of them are great. That you hit or miss with most of them. Like most of them ain't gonna come out. So Fade to Glory actually were beats that I didn't like, which is crazy. Like so, if you
Hmm,
heard it, I didn't like none of them beats. It was just like
that's wild.
yeah. So, but now when you have lyrics on it and then you have scratching on it, it becomes a masterpiece because now it's a
Hmm.
classic to me. It's an EP, and I was like, I'm gonna put out instrumental mixtape. That's how that started. And then I passed the beats off to my two people, Jimmy the Gin Conway and Pressure De Niro.
Hmm.
And I was like, yo, listen, let's do a song version to the instrumental. And then they did the instrumental. I mean, they did the song version. I think they did 3 songs, and then like, nah, Faye, we on to something. We're gonna make this, and then it turned into that. But just like anything, when you have three people who are bosses, three different companies, yeah, don't, that project was all under me where I was like basically giving the orders and this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. I have full control over it because I was just going to put it out and throw it away.
Hmm.
And then once, people get, they see things and, they start wanting to step up and talk and then take their time and whatever, then it doesn't work out the way it needs to work out. That's what I'm working on the album because now I'm getting features and it's like they're not giving me resistance. It's just like how much, let's do it. Here was beat. All right, got it back. Here's your other half, and then that's it. I add your publishing. I make sure you straight, and then that's it. But when you deal with people that you're related to or have some type of family bond or some type of
Hmm.
friendship, It's just everybody wants to be the chief. Nobody wants to be the Indian. I don't have a problem being the Indian. I'm like, you know, you be the chief right now, I'll be the chief later on. Like, I don't have a problem with that. Like, send me the song, I add the scratches here. Just make sure I get credit. I don't care about all the extras. Like, why your name first? And this, I'm like, all right, this is just not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So, and then even if I explain it like, yo, bootleg is bootlegging me because my name, what would be the difference if it puts your name first? They don't know who you are. Like, so it's just too much complications. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, that was a start. I did that like maybe 5 years ago, and it's like I said, it comes on my shuffle. I'm like, damn, this shit is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's, like I said, another great body of work and a little bit of time. So I think we did that shit in like 3 weeks.
Oh, that's
Word,
crazy. But it's
word,
funny because you literally just said there was like those was all a collection of beats you didn't even like.
correct,
But look what happened once you heard the lyrics on the beat, it becomes something totally different. So it's like for me when it comes to music, right? I'm one of
correct,
those like if you're an artist that I grew up listening to, then I'm gonna listen to you regardless. Or if you're like
correct,
an artist that I like now. But a lot of the songs that catch me nowadays are based off beats alone. I have to hit a beat first. If I can hit a beat and I like the beat, now I'm paying attention to the lyrics.
correct,
So in your case, you like had a whole bunch of beats that you was just ready to just be like, yeah, I don't even want these. Like, I don't need these. I'm throwing these away. And then your peoples hit them and they're like, wait, let's do something with it. And then you're like, in your mind, you're probably like, wow, this beat is trash. And then when you
correct,
hear them put something to it, and you're like, it becomes something totally different than what you
correct,
even started, which is crazy
correct.
if you really think about it.
That's true. That's true. Like when they sent it to me, I didn't even. Now you start thinking if you even want to give them the beat.
Yeah, see?
Now you're like, wait, I don't even think I might have to hold on to this beat. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, that's how it is though. You know, like once you start getting creative and you start, you know, like connecting the dots, then that's when you have the body of work. It's like the beat is empty, you know, and then once you start putting people in it, then you start feeding it and building it up. Now you're giving it steroids, and then especially depending on the features that you have,
Hmm.
then it just becomes a masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? A classic or
Hmm.
whatnot.
With instrumentals that you do, right? Which
Hmm.
do you prefer to do better? Like because we all know there's different types of beats and music and stuff like that. For example, like we have those East Coast beats, but East
Right.
Coast beats are different from down south beats. Down
Correct.
south beats are different from drill beats. Like
Correct.
which one do you prefer, or do you even have a preference?
I'm hip hop, so I do the break beats and the samples, like the Premier, the Pete Rock, like I said before, the Buck Wild.
Hmm.
Buck Wild is super underrated.
Hmm.
So I'm in that like kind of category. Like I could do a ninth wonder beat. Well, not ninth wonder beat, but it'll sound like him, or, Griselda. So it's crazy because I remember when Fade to Glory came out. That was a whole Little Wayne era and Rick Ross era,
Hmm.
you know. So I remember having an executive in the car, and then he used to be like, "Now you need to make these type of beats," and I didn't listen. I kept making the beats that I was making. You know what I'm saying? And then Griselda came out, and I'm like, "Shit!" I run into one of them. It's a rap because I
Hmm.
got 70-80% of that of my beats is that. You know what I'm saying? So I'll come across some on the shuffle and I'm like, damn, this beat is hard. This shit is dope. But no rush whatsoever. I know it's there sitting there. Let it collect dust as much as possible. Because once I get the ball rolling and get some momentum, then you're gonna be like, damn, where this dude came from? And I've been here. It's just timing. Everything is timing.
Hmm. One thing about it, funny because you mentioned Griselda beats and stuff like that. If you really listen, the Griselda beats are simple. It's just the
Absolutely.
lyrics that are put on them. I have a whole gym. We was just talking about the gym before we started this, right? I have
Hmm.
a whole gym playlist that's just for Griselda alone.
Mm.
So
Mm.
you can, and it's like you when you hear them rap, it's like okay, this they fire. Then it's like
Correct.
then you hear the beat, and then when you if you break down the beat to the lyrics, you're like the lyrics make the beat what it is. It makes the whole
Correct.
song. But as a
That's like
DJ,
Mob Deep. That's like
yeah,
Mob
yeah,
Deep. Not to cut you
absolutely,
off. The same shit. You know what I'm saying? That gritty, grimy. You hear the beat,
yeah.
and then they just Prodigy rapping and Havoc rapping, and it's just like it just makes it 100 times better.
It's like MOP.
There you
Like
go,
if you really
MOP
hear it,
too.
yeah, and it's that,
MOP,
and it's that.
the Locks and Capone Noriega, Onyx.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, Onyx, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So, what would you give advice to somebody who wants to be a DJ but doesn't know how to start?
Ask yourself what you're really trying to do it for. If you're trying to do it for money, then you probably just better off getting a regular job because you're gonna have too much people that's going to be doing it for peanuts. You're not going to get the money that I used to get. Like I used, 2 hours back then, probably 800, 1,000, something like that. Now 2 hours, you probably get $100 and a couple free drinks. So you're not going to really make a living unless you become, really known. You got to get a laptop that costs money. You got to get a DJ controller that costs money. You got to get the music that takes time. Unless you buy a hard drive or get a hard drive from somebody. So it just comes down to what your goal is and being consistent. But the main thing I tell people, see, I didn't have no plan B. I came home, it was just DJ, like, yo, I need to take care of my family, this, that, and the third. But now it's like, if you want to do it, I think the best thing is to invest in yourself, which is to have money, not to make it your top priority, because then it becomes stressful and then you start getting lost in what you're doing. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's just a build. Like, if that's what you want to do, just do it as a hobby. And then one thing you'll do is maybe do a baby shower, you do a wedding, and then you'll probably get a LLC and open up a company, and you don't even got to do the clubs. You know what I'm saying? So there's a place for everybody. You just got to figure it out. Don't look at somebody else and what they doing and think it's gonna work for you. That's not the route to do it. That just becomes super duper hard to accomplish.
So basically, being a DJ, like if you starting from the bottom, start with like you said, baby showers and stuff like that, almost like a building up a clientele with word of mouth, right?
Correct. Like just your inner circle built. Get business cards, and then you can even go work for somebody who does weddings, right? Like that's how you could build your resume. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you don't have to be that. Like me, I've been out for a minute, and some people when they interview me, they call me a legend. I really don't like that, but I understand why. Because doing the mixtapes and all my accomplishments in their eyes, but I never liked the limelight. I always like my privacy. I always like to just make the music speak for itself. Like, think about it. I do a mixtape with other people' music. So the difference between my mixtape and somebody else's mixtape is the way I do my mixtape. So when they see my name on it, all right, I'm getting Phase mixtape. And that's just what it comes down to. So you just got to have your own identity and your own style too, and then you'll have a following. But like I said, like everybody wants to be the DJ Khaled, be on stage and all of that, and that's not for everybody. It takes a lot of time, and it doesn't work for everybody, as you can see, because there's so many DJs, and it's like you have DJ crews, and they like 50 deep, 25 deep. You only know three of them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. As a businessman, and I'm doing a podcast myself, obviously, I have a clothing line myself, obviously. I need you to explain to my viewers how important is it for you to treat this as a business, no matter whether it's a family, friends, or someone you don't know.
What you're doing, you're gonna brand everything that you're doing, right? So like with me, like I got my little logo, and my company, like look, I got this right here. I got this with Tracks NYC. This is my logo. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So this is the logo. So um you gotta just brand it like because what happens is like I got three letters and then I got it on new era hat. That's gonna, I'm already investing money in like the best brand to push my brand. Even though it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
cost more, I'm gonna charge less. I'm not gonna charge more. I'm gonna charge less. And that's what people always get at me for, because I push a DVD and a CD together and won't even charge nobody nothing just to make the money back. And people be like, yo, I'm like, nah, I want to have people out there with it. So what happens is that when you have your company and everything, like in the beginning, nobody's really gonna believe in what you're doing more than you. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So you got to push it. And then as you push it, because at the end of the day, you want to take care of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least for me, like if I have a regular job, then I need to take care of people when people ask me for money. But when you're a boss, you could put people to work and make money, or you could, put people in position, to make money. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the goal. So, that's what it comes down to. At least for me, that's what I try to do. But at the end of the day, everything is being consistent, and then make sure you just keep investing money in yourself, and letting people know that, like either you get on board now, or you're gonna be left behind, because as you get momentum, people are gonna jump on board, and then then you're gonna be hard to reach.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. Speaking of that, then before we get to the next thing, how different are you now than you were when you first started? Because you just said like how you'd be harder to reach. Like sometimes you have to be, because
Correct.
like you just said, you give people opportunities to get on board when you're at the bottom. So
Correct.
now when you're at the bottom, you're seeing who's really riding for you. So as opposed to when you take off, And now all of a sudden, those same people who were at the bottom who didn't want to join, now all of a sudden, quote unquote, see your success and see what you've been doing. It's kind of easier to separate yourself from those people, no matter whether they feel like you may have quote unquote sold out or you don't care, whatever the case may be. But in actuality, you tried to help these people out when you first started. So I think it's important for people to also understand too, like when you have a vision and you explain this vision to people that you're starting your business or brand with, and then these people don't have that same vision that you have, or they don't believe in that same vision that you have, but then they see your consistency, your hard work while you're still grinding at the bottom. But then they still like, oh, well, he ain't making no money yet. I don't believe it's going to work. And then you start to take off and make money. And now all of these same people are like, oh, hey, look, I always believed in you. How do you separate yourself from cutting those people off without having to feel like I don't want to say like a jerk for doing it, but obviously you have to do it because you already see where their focus is.
I mean, they cut themselves off. You know what I'm saying? Because then they're not talking to you as much. So then with me, I have listen, I'm super blunt and I'm an asshole for real. So I have no problem picking up the phone and talking to a person, and then we hang up, and then you call me 2 days later. I'm like, yo, you ain't been calling me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So you get what you allow, you know what I'm saying? So and then it's nobody's dream but yours. You know what I mean? Because you're the one that's gonna get paid for all your hard work. So you don't owe nobody nothing. I know how to say no. And then sometimes I probably pay somebody out to leave me alone. What you need here? Because I know what they out for, and I know they ain't gonna pay me back, or I know they just trying to quote unquote use me. But they ain't using me. Like you can always play dumb. You can't play smart. So you
Mm-hmm.
got to see it coming. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like right now I could post a picture, or we could put this video, or I got my jewelry on, or be in front of the car, and then that's when people hit you because that's when they see like, damn, Faye's still doing good, and then they hit you with all these problems. But I'm like, yo, your social media don't say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, like you the only person who's supposed to believe in yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you, right? Like we got plugged through Pro, and shout out to Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And even though what you're doing is starting, I always want to be a part of something that started. You know what I'm saying? Because then we don't know where it's going to end up. But it's not like I have a hidden agenda. It's just that I want to be able to be like, yo, Rose, I got something that I'm about to do, like the set up an interview. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
I could do the interview myself. I know how to do everything. Like I said, being a boss, I know how to do the upload. I know how to do the edits, Final Cut Pro. I know how to do all that. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't need nobody. I cut the middleman off long time ago. So when it comes down to that, like just believe in yourself, and take off, and it's just hard work. You just got to be consistent, and then everything's gonna always you're gonna always it's always gonna pay off. It just always is. No such thing as it's not paying off. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But speaking of setting up future projects, trials and tribulations. I see I've been watching your social media,
Hmm.
trials and
Hmm.
tribulations, and you're pushing it, trials and tribulations. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
it over and over again because I need my viewers to understand trials and tribulations is going to be big. I need them to
Correct.
understand that. So just talk a little bit about trials and tribulations. Obviously, me and you had talked behind the scenes, but just let the viewers know a little something about trials and tribulations and what to possibly expect.
All right, so cool. So Trials and Tribulations is like it's like how Fade to Glory was with throwaway beats, but Trials and Tribulations with pick beats. These are beats that I pick, concepts that I thought of, scratches that I added, intro. I think there's like 7 songs, and then there's a Trials and Tribulation remix featuring just one artist. So what I did was at one point I was trying to get beats to certain artists, and I couldn't do it. But then on top of that, I didn't have a name. So now you got to give the beat to them, and then let them do whatever they want. And then if they just pick it, they might not even give you credit for it. So I already saw how I was going to come in the game. And if you give somebody a free beat, that's where you stay. You're never going to be able to charge them. So instead, I was like, let me pick these beats, see how much people charge for a feature. And then that's what I did. I just started, how much for a feature, how much for a feature, and I was surprised. And then, 1,000 here, 3,000 here, and then how much for two, and then I'll send them the beat, and then they'll listen, they'll pick the 2 beats, and then I'll get the next feature, and then I'm like, send them 3 beats, they'll pick the 2 beats, and then that's how the songs got created without them even knowing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, such and such on here starting, and then I send them the reference. So it wasn't like I was paying for a feature and you could just give me some trash. Like you already had a heavy hitter in the beginning. So
Mm-hmm.
when you listen to to all the songs, it's like even what somebody was like, I was aiming for somebody. He's like, yo, I got somebody who does hooks and could give you a verse for this much. I was like, I'm kind of iffy with this beat because I can't do no scratches on it. I can't think of no scratches because the beat was super slow. Let
Mm-hmm.
me see how he do this hook. And the next morning he sent me the hook, and I'm like, wow. And then that's like I think one of my best songs to date. So and then like how we spoke behind the scenes, I don't say the features because since this is a new lane, I gotta know the background to it. Like when it comes to paperwork, publishing, points. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. I don't want to not gonna just drop it and then it's just like I forgot to add this dude publishing and forgot that what the points is. I don't know none of that. So I know it's my master. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because but I want to make sure all the details, all the paperwork, because I stopped dropping DVDs. I think I'm like 90 something, 98 or 97,
Mm-hmm.
and then but I have a whole bunch of best stuff. So I dropped a whole bunch of titles. So right now, if it's Wednesday, I could literally do a DVD tomorrow and drop it Saturday. Like literally, that's how quick. Because I do it live. I could just line it up. All right, cool, record it, and then it takes longer to render than it does to actually record. So I want to do that with songs. When I drop
Mm-hmm.
Trials and Tribulations, it's gonna be a song per week. That's 7 weeks. I already got the second album, which is called, I mean, the remix album. So that's another seven. So now we're on 14. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got Legendary, which got 2 songs already. I think 2.5 songs. So now, that's 16. So once I start getting momentum, then I'm gonna just start making the newer songs. And then once people start seeing what I'm doing and I start networking, I'm more than likely not gonna have to pay for the verses. People are gonna
Mm-hmm.
want to just, be a part of the project because not only am I doing what makes it dope is that there's an artist you probably have that haven't came out in a while, but you want to hear him, and then
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear him on my shit. So what I want to do is I want to get him. So now when you see it's NY Fade featuring that artist, you're gonna click on it for that artist, and then oh shit, he's with such and such too. So now you're able to hear something fresh or something new. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have to drop an album. It could just be on my song, on my, on my album, and it's gonna be a collaboration and a bunch of artists, and hopefully I could turn it into getting independent artists who could find a way to to eat off that. And later on down the line, I want to make mixtapes that I didn't even produce the songs. Like I could just be A&R and show people like, all right, cool, I'm gonna keep my name like almost like a Khaled. Khaled does that now, but more on an independent level. You know what I'm saying? I don't really think he's doing what he's doing is dope, but it's not really no work. Like you could get a hot beat from a hot producer and then a hot artist. That really doesn't require nothing. He's just a middleman. You could just get rid of him and add that song on your album. So but yeah, I'm pushing for April. It might be too soon, but like I said, I just want to make sure everything perfect. I don't want to do no, I don't want to have no redos. I don't want to have it ever. These are songs. These are not mixtapes. So I want to make sure I make an impact and not worry too much about no money. I don't care about none of that. And in word, just want to make an impact. So hopefully April, like third week of April, that's what I'm aiming for. Springtime coming to
Yeah.
the summer, and
Yep.
then and the winter off real great. That's what I'm aiming for.
Yeah. And then you hit that one good song for the summer that I have like the summer banger lasting through the
Correct,
cars. You never know because it could be the song in week one that turns into the summer banger, but it could be the song in week 14 that turns into. You never know. You never
correct.
know.
And that's the reason for the remix because when I drop the regular joint, I don't expect it to get that much momentum. But because I'm gonna drop it every week, I'm not gonna look at the views. I'm not gonna look at the listens. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna care. But I want to keep dropping it. So now because artists are gonna drop it like it's their song. Like when I talk to people who are featured on it, and we talking numbers, they're like, yo, listen, the goal is for the song to be hot so you can perform it. I can't
Mm-hmm.
perform it. I can only stand next to you. And even
Mm-hmm.
if you perform it in the club, you're not gonna give me a cut, and I don't want a cut. So don't give me nothing half-assed. Give me whatever at your best because if the song is hot, the beat is hot, you could use that verse when you perform. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the goal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then like I said, the dude who's doing the remix, I wanted to drop. So people are like, oh, there's a remix to it. Now they looking for the original. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think nobody. I mean, a couple people did remix albums, but that shit is so. Like I said, people just are out for money, so they just dropping shit with like 6 songs, 5 songs, and one verse, and it's just like just for money. And it has like I hate listening to a song 5 times, and it's like the 5 times you listen to is literally 5 minutes because it's only
Yeah.
one verse. Don't
Yep.
even have a hook on it. It's like so mine is like some of my songs are like 4.5 minutes long. But some real dope shit, you listen to it twice, you just, that's like 9 minutes of your life. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Listen, man, if you guys are listening to any of NYFA's songs, go listen to them while you're in the gym. That way
Mm.
you're gonna play through all his songs in the gym because you're gonna be in the gym, you're gonna be bopping, you ain't even gonna think about working out because the song's gonna be by the time you realize your workout is done, you done listen to his whole album. So make sure you guys go listen to all of that.
Yeah, I appreciate that word.
Nah, no problem, bro. And before we close out, once again, I want to thank you for being my guest. I
No,
usually
thank
ask
you.
every
Thank you.
No, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. But I usually ask everybody this before I close out. So my
So,
question to you would be, as your older self now, what advice would you give your younger self?
somebody asked me that yesterday. That's so crazy. And I couldn't even answer it. I like because even when I look at it for what it's worth, and I did 7 years, 4.5 years on parole, I would do all that the same. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't want to change anything so I could be here right now where I'm at. If you
Hmm.
change anything, it's like I probably wouldn't even be talking to you. You know what I mean? I probably have like a family of seven or something, you know what I'm saying? And be married, and the DJing thing becomes a hobby, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that, I don't have no kids, and, like I'm my only responsibility, that's the only reason why I could continue to maneuver and do what I want to do the way I want to do it. But I don't really think I have anything that I could even really say. Like I said, somebody asked me that yesterday, and I really couldn't think about it. They were like, even being locked up. I said, nah, being locked up made me the man that I was today. Am today. You know what I mean? Not
Hmm.
even was. So, because when I was growing up, it was dead or in jail. But
Hmm.
and then the way I grind, and like I said, everything I do is by myself, and I motivate myself and push myself. So at the end of the day, everything is timing, and word, I wouldn't change nothing. I love the fact of what I accomplished, where I'm at, and where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? Like word.
Actually, sometimes that's the best answer to give than to give advice to yourself. Because, like you said, one difference in your past won't even have you here now. There probably might not even be a trials or tribulations.
Correct,
So
correct,
there might not even be an NY fade, to be honest with you.
correct. No, that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, because one little thing, we men, so we don't, you can't be a little kid having a hobby. You got that's some shit you do in your spare time. So God forbid I'd have had a kid, or wife or some shit, like everything changes. Like, you know what I mean? Like now it's
Mhm.
not about you, it's about your foundation. You know what I'm saying? So for me, this is my foundation. This is all the people around me, and this is what I do for them, and that's the goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, once again, thank you for being my guest. If anybody wants to
Pleasure.
follow you on socials, where could they follow you?
I think all of them are NY_fade, Instagram. Yeah, I don't even be on social media like that. But yeah, Instagram, I think what they got, the Facebook and all that. Look, I'm like what they got, like, what I'm saying.
That's
But
all
the
right.
website,
I got you. I'll plug it in on my
yeah,
socials. I'll plug it. Don't worry, I got you.
yeah, but the website is nyfade.com. And then everything
Hmm.
is there. The new videowave.com. That's what I base everything on. Like you could message me. I'm not hard to reach, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely not hard to reach. And, somebody needs some scratches. Beats I'm not giving out. So, I mean, for scratches, I'll do that all day. When you hear Fade to Glory, you'll see what I'm talking about. You go to my YouTube page, NY Fade, you'll see what I'm talking about. Video mixes, you got music videos, and you want me to do a video blend for you, to do that all day. And then word, Rel's good looking. Shout out to Pro, and we're gonna
Appreciate
be here again. Trials and Tribulation when it drops. You know what I'm saying? So you could give me a little intake on certain songs, and then we take it like we take it from there. I appreciate you very much.
Nah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you too, man. Thanks again, once again, for being my guest, man.
All right, no doubt.
All right, take care.
All right, one.